There was a moment where I've never said this, but for the sake of my mental health, I said, guys, I love you all, but I think I have to leave. What's up? It's White Omi.
What's up?
We're here at the Zach Saying Show, and we're here to talk about everything that has been going on in our lives lately.
Intense stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be super intense.
The industry, music, everything.
Yeah.
Tune in. It's crazy.
Enjoy.
Let's do this. Zach Sang Show.
Hello,
Splendid.
beautiful human. Hi, I'm Zach. That's Stan, and we welcome to the studio back here feeling good. The energy is different today than it's ever been.
Really?
Yeah, Why Don't We's here.
We're happy to be here.
Zach and Dan are here.
Yeah.
Oh.
Y'all are welcome.
Oh wait, Zach and Dan are also
I was like,
here.
yeah.
Two Zachs and
Let's
two
go.
Dans. That's craziness.
Amazing.
Wow.
That's
Yo,
awesome.
correct me if I'm wrong. Your aesthetic today is different than it's ever been, just in terms of fashion, right? Or am I blind?
We have aged
say
quite
we
a bit.
switched.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Switch it up a little bit.
It's like fine wine, you know. The fits follow. Yeah.
But the truth is, fashion is attached to one's identity, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
1,000%.
big time actually.
Yeah.
So what's different today than before? What happens in life that allows you to, I don't know, dress a little bit more hipper, freer, cooler, maybe more attached to who you are?
Yeah.
I feel like honestly, just growing up for us has been a thing, and I just like style more now. I feel like before I didn't care as much about it, and maybe it's just living in LA. I
Yeah.
feel like that could be part of
There's
it. But
so
I
many-
I like it lately.
Yeah,
I also
there's-
think just being on tour, you just have a suitcase with all of your
Fair.
Yeah.
favorite T-shirts and jeans or whatever in there. So it's just like you're recycling a lot of the same stuff. And then
Yeah.
we've been in LA now for 2 years plus.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
of the,
too long.
because
My
of COVID,
closet
so.
is a wreck.
Oh yeah.
It's an absolute wreck.
Like so
I
many
just,
clothes.
Yeah, just too many.
Ugh.
Too many. And I go through
The
and I'm like a
worst.
hoarder. I can't figure out what I should get rid of and what I shouldn't. Because like there's a lot of
First
dope
world
stuff in there.
problems.
But I'm going through and I'm like, well, I haven't worn this in a year, but it's dope. I can't get rid of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you
I
never
do.
know when you're going to need
The
it.
jerk
Yeah.
is just so tough.
I
Man.
got rid of 10 trash bags full of just shirts from my closet.
Whoa.
And
That's
my
good.
closet still has too many
What
clothes.
about all your
Oh.
shoes, though, bro?
Oh man.
Oh, yeah, I have like.
Honestly, I wear
got, like-
kind of this outfit every day, if I'm being honest.
Well,
but it's yeah. It's
Nah, I've
my
never
fit.
seen that jacket, bro.
The jacket's new, but I
Jacket
actually
looks good.
thrifted this.
Oh,
Guess how much
sick.
it was?
$3.
10 $10, but $10.
$10?
$10.
10 for the
I got it at
genuine
the
leather?
market thing we went to.
Ooh,
Oh,
$10.
it's nice.
That's
$10.
crucial.
It's a vibe.
Do you all still own your matching tuxedos, or do we burn those?
Yeah.
They don't fit
those are-
anymore.
If I
man.
tried to
Alright.
put that
Wow.
on now,
Yeah, what would happen?
Dude, I would have kept it, but it was Velcro.
What?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
It was Velcro.
Oh, because it's a quick
Because we had
Yeah.
to quick change it, so it was like there's no.
fooled
It would be
everyone.
weird.
We
to wear
should have
it.
put a video out of us actually taking those off because it would have been hilarious. Well, it would
I
have
don't
been weird. Maybe not. But it was like, boom, like like the movies when the superheroes like, that's what it was like. So.
When I bring up those tuxedos in that matching era, does anything come to mind? Like, what do you think of today?
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
I've tried to.
I always think of the one time we played in Stockholm. No, not Stockholm. We played in Scotland. And we wore kilts on stage. And like our
yeah.
top halves were
That was
the tuxedos,
iconic.
and our bottom halves were the
Iconic.
kilts.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I
There-
remember
there,
that.
There are some good times and some bad ones in that time. And I'm happy to be here now.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It was an era. It was an era.
It was
Definitely an
Definitely
era.
An era of what? Figuring out who you are? An
Yeah.
era of knowledge? An era of a combination of both?
An era of learning.
Sadness?
Yeah.
Definitely an era of learning.
Mm-hmm.
I think an era of bonding for the band, big time.
Yeah.
But I think it was also an era of like figuring out what this music business really is. I think that was new for us. Like just everything, we were touring a ton and we didn't it was all new for us. And I feel like now the difference is we know just about everything about how all this works. So
Mm.
it was like equally so fun and equally like so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, because you were thrust into a lot.
Oh my
Mhm.
gosh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And did you feel like when you started, you had an idea of what it would take to become a real, legitimate musical operation?
I don't
I had
think-
an idea, but it was not.
I don't think you ever really
not the
know.
real idea.
Yeah, it wasn't
Yeah.
the
No,
real
it was
idea.
so much.
And even I genuinely don't think any artist really knows how to become like an artist. And I
Yeah.
think that's what's so cool about art is no one knows I hate when people are like, there's a formula to being like a star or like having a hit. It's like
Yeah.
nobody knows that. We just the best thing you can do is be authentic and be yourself.
When
And I
it
think-
happens, everyone takes credit for it. But then
Oh, yeah,
it's
true.
funny. It's
I
funny.
called that hit. You're like,
yeah.
"What?"
Oh, did you?
So I don't know, but
Yeah.
I feel like the best thing about us now is that we like fully dove into like who are we, you know,
Yeah.
like really
Right.
who are we
Mhm.
as like people. And I feel like our biggest intention lately has been like, let's just be us to everyone, you know.
Mhm.
Do you feel like you started this journey asking the question, who is Why Don't We?
No, we were being
Not
told
really.
who, why don't we what?
Yeah.
1,000%.
Yeah.
we told it. Yeah.
It was interesting. It was like a mix of like us being just like young and naive, and like also trusting the industry to, you know, to give us the dreams that had been promised to us,
Yeah, a lot of
Um,
promised dreams for sure.
and also just like a mix of kind of going back to like kind of what they said, just like learning about the industry itself. Like it's a weird industry, man. It's a very weird.
Yeah.
It's a very unconventional industry. Like there's just a lot of ins and outs and loopholes and
When people say
Yeah.
like, "Yo, the music industry is pretty hard," like I didn't realize it was actually,
yeah.
Yeah.
you know, this
Mhm.
intense.
And I honestly
Yeah.
like it's funny too because you know we talked to other artists in sort of a similar boat as us, like success wise and you
Mhm.
know just like work wise, and like we would explain our situation, and at one point it was like, I don't think this is even normal for most
Anyone.
artists.
Yeah.
So
But it was all we knew.
yeah,
Yeah,
it,
so
it
exactly.
was
So
all we
it's
knew.
like-
And again, like,
it's like
what
what-
what I love now is like when you fight. I mean, we're honestly still fighting a lot of battles, but like when you get in the trenches like that, you learn everything. You learn like when you go up against somebody like that, you learn how to deal with anybody. So like
Mhm.
the flip
Mm.
side of that is like you can't come at us anymore, you know.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
but that being said, the fight is not over.
But even being in the trenches and being in the fight
Yeah.
teaches you things. You learn things, and it's like, okay, like
What's
next?
What's
It
kind
does.
of
It does.
ironic about that is I think that's what brought us so close.
That's what I
the
was
five
gonna
of
say.
us is like
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
like we had no other choice but just to be each other's best friends and support systems. So like the bond you see between the five of us is so real, and I think that's what's so like marketable and likable about who we are as a band. Like it's like we're just actually friends, but it's funny that like a lot of that friendship was rooted in something that a lot of people don't know about.
which, to broadly define it, would you call it trauma?
Yes.
Yeah.
I said this
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah.
For sure.
We were at lunch yesterday. Also, disclaimer, like, this is the first time we've talked about this to anybody with a mic, and it's just like
It's
so crazy.
weird, bro.
Like,
It's weird.
but
Yeah.
that being said, yesterday it was funny. We were all just at lunch, and I literally said that. I was like, I think we trauma bonded as
Mhm.
kids,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's just been like very interesting to like these last couple of years like figure out the other ways that we've gotten along besides just like the trauma, you know what I mean? And like actually enjoying each other's company past just like we're gonna get through this together. It's been
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
nice in one way and just like weird in another. That was like really what sparked a bond, you know.
Yeah, because you had each other,
Yeah.
only each other. It must have felt like that.
No,
we literally-
that's exactly what it was. Yeah, we
Do you-
had no friends. No,
We weren't allowed to
Yeah.
Yeah.
go anywhere.
We
else.
didn't really leave. Yeah, we couldn't leave.
Do you remember the moment where you realized all you had was the
Mhm.
people sitting in this little group right
Yeah.
here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it?
Yeah. There was a moment pretty early on.
It was
like I don't know, you know.
There was a
Yeah.
lot
You
of
can edit it
moments
out if
like
you need
that.
to,
But
but
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
a
yeah.
there was a moment where I've never said this, but for the sake of my mental health, I said, guys, I love you all, but I think I have to leave.
Yeah.
I remember
Um,
that.
And they all literally with open arms brought me in and were like, we get it. And like, it might be the best for all of us. And this was like second year of being a
Early on.
band.
That's hard
And
to hear, right?
Yeah, this was 27.
Yeah,
Well,
but
hard to
it's
say and hard to
2017, I
hear.
think.
The hardest
It was
thing is
just
that
that
we
bad.
were thinking like that when we're doing, you know, what we love. And
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
this
And the
was our
next-
dream. So
it
like
was
the
crazy
hardest
too,
thing
because
was-
I remember that morning I woke up and told said guy, hey, I'm enough of this shit. I'm leaving. And like that, we got to leave the house that we weren't allowed to leave. And everything changed that day. And I think that was the day that sparked in our heads, like, that we had some worth because for a while it genuinely didn't feel like
Mhm.
that's what was so crazy for us is it always felt like we were like filling the shell of like what an artist should be. You know, we were like, are we real artists? Like, it was like genuinely like a question that was so tough for us to answer. And I
Well,
think
and
that
putting
day,
that trust in someone else. It wasn't even really. It was just like,
yeah,
if we show up and do what we're supposed to do every day, I guess this is what's gonna happen.
like full
Yeah.
robot mode, like
Yeah.
the shit you read about, and you're like, that doesn't happen. Like
Yeah.
fully was
Yeah,
happening.
it was
and
happening.
yeah, I think one day, I think that day actually was the day that I realized, and I think we all realized, like, okay, we have some power here, because
Yeah.
the second this almost went away, everything changed. You know.
Boot camp was over.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
literally didn't even tell my parents about any of this.
No.
Yeah, like,
For that reason of just
Not
I
wanting to
didn't
lose it.
I didn't want to lose it at the same time, because I feel
Yeah.
like in my head I was like, this is just what everybody has to go through to get to like
It's a part of the
stardom in a
process.
sense.
Yeah, and this is
Yeah,
like
yeah,
my
yeah.
one
We
shot.
were just kind of convinced that.
Mhm.
Zach was 15.
And I was 15 at the time. So like
Thinking.
left my hometown and just I just didn't know. I didn't know any better.
In your mind, the worst thing you could do is call your mom and tell her that
Yeah.
you're in this abusive
Well,
situation.
exactly.
You gave up a
Oh, yeah.
reality
She'd
back at
pull him
home.
out.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know
we'd be
you guys
gone in
didn't
an
either.
instant. We
Yeah.
wouldn't be there.
Yeah, I had like just told my mom some of the details like a couple months ago, and like she was like astonished.
How hard
Yeah.
is it to
And
share
I was like,
with your parents?
It's pretty.
I don't
hard,
like
yeah.
to think
It's-
about it. Honestly,
My parents,
Yeah.
my mom
It's-
starts
I don't
crying
like-
every time I tell
That's
her
what's
about
crazy is I don't think even as a band, we really brought it up or mentioned
It.
it
Yeah.
after it happened, because why would you want to?
How many years did it go on for?
it was
It's-
like a
oh,
full
man.
year.
it was like a full
Of
year
the
while
intense
Well,
one.
I mean,
of
it's
the
how long?
intense like
I
It's
think
still-
that-
Yeah.
physical verbal type
But
of
it
stuff.
kept
But it's
on
been
while we
it's
were
been
on tour.
going on our entire careers up
the
until
abuse
like
hasn't stopped, and I
Yeah.
think it's been in different forms. And earlier on, it was a lot more real and
Mhm.
and very, involving our minds
Because we
and
lived it,
bodies. And I
man.
think today it's like literally legal abuse,
Yeah.
And now we're adults and
Financial.
we have our own
I mean-
houses, and it's like we finally got the freedom to kind of live our own lives. And now, still, there's like the abuse on the side of just the we own you type of mentality.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
the battle of how long can we keep Why Don't We under our thumb kind of
Yeah.
thing.
I
And
mean,
it's
we haven't been
Exactly.
paid.
yeah,
a while.
it's
It's
weird.
like crazy.
yeah.
I want to get into.
You haven't been paid?
No, since COVID.
not this year.
No.
Wow.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, it's real, man. Like
It's
Like I
crazy.
need to pay
And
my
by the way,
taxes,
remember
man.
the-
I need to pay my taxes.
And by the way, you had,
man, taxes added up, bro.
you had a release over COVID, the good
Yeah.
times and the bad ones.
Yeah.
So
That
clearly there
honestly
was money
kept
there.
us for me, and I
Same.
think the band.
A
It
little
just
bit.
like kept us going, honestly.
Yeah.
And not even to be cliche and be like the music kept, but like had we not had the distraction of being like, there's hope that we can still come out with music and make it.
Mm-hmm.
Like to me at that point it would have been like, what are we doing?
Mhm.
Like we're here for the sake of music, and that's what's so sad to me about the whole thing is like, dude, this is all encompassing the idea that we just want to make music. Like, what do
Yeah.
you mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's such a like simple, sweet thing being able to make music, and like such a gift, and just to like see the extent people go to get their hand on a literal gift God gave us is so sad, and like
Yeah.
I don't know, not
Yeah.
to sound like oh, we're gifted, but like no, like like cockiness aside, we're here to make music, and it's just like so unfair. I feel like that like people are trying so hard to make that so tough for us,
Yeah.
and have been. So your goal and your purpose is to make music, but for years you don't feel like you're actually artists. You said
Oh, yeah.
that. Why? Is that because you were made to feel like even though you were working hard and your voices were on these records, they
Yeah.
weren't yours?
Well, I mean, if you look at videos and stuff from way back when we were doing choreo and stuff, like, I mean,
God.
Oh.
there's like a video from the Today
Those will
Show where
never
we all
come
look
out.
like depressed and we're like trying to do this dance. And I mean, I don't know. It's like
I remember
interesting.
too. I think we were in Chicago when we saw Sean.
No, we're in Atlanta.
We were in
Atlanta.
Atlanta. Sean
This is
had
July
a show.
July 2018.
He had a
I
show,
believe.
and we had a day off, and we reached out and we're like, we'd love to come to the show, and he like hooked it up. Like the guy was so nice. We were sitting right
He
in the
put us
middle in the
on
sound.
a platform right behind front of
Oh,
house.
Dude, he
Like-
treated us so well. And
Yeah.
after, we got to talk to him, and I remember that was the first artist that like gave us true insight on just like how much control he had of his career, and it was so cool to hear because like at that point we had no say
Mhm.
in just about anything. And even if we did, we were so brainwashed that we didn't have the confidence to stand up and say our idea was good. I mean, it was
Yeah.
at the point where
Well, Sean was the one. I remember we were like, "Yeah, we play instruments and all this stuff, and we want to like do that." And
He
like,
told you to do it.
he was
Well,
like, he
told
was
us
like,
to do
"Wait,
it.
yeah." He was like,
Yeah.
"Wait, you guys play instruments?" Like, I had no idea.
well, also with songwriting too, like at that point, like we wrote probably
most
three-
of the last
4
album.
albums worth of music
Yeah.
on the road that to this day nobody's heard, and hopefully we can get out eventually. But this is all happening behind the actual music coming out, which we still love. And like at the end of the day, all the music that we came out with, like we wouldn't record a song we didn't love, but like
Yeah.
there
Yeah,
was
yeah,
that side
that's
of
true.
like
Yeah.
there was the side of like, oh man, like this song or this song, I wish it was the one we had. But our confidence was so low that there was a point where I was like, am I gifted?
Yeah,
Like,
are we good?
do I sing okay? Do I actually know how to write? Like all these thoughts. And I remember when we talked to Sean, he was like, when I talk to my manager, like we might butt heads, but he always takes my side at the end of the day. And like I got chills and I was like, dude, I would kill for that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? Like that just that and to see like the confidence in his eyes where he was like, and like when I know a hit's a hit, I know it's a hit, and like people trust me on that. And I was like, I remember Big Plans was the first song that we
Yeah.
heard. It was
We
right
started,
after the whole Sean thing. You know, you're walking out with a different, you know, the little puff chest of like, maybe we do know. And I remember we heard Big Plans. It was an A&R song, and someone brought it to us, like someone on our team, and it was some friends of ours, Jake Torrey. Who was that? Who's the other writer on it? Jake and
Earwolf produced it.
Earwolf produced it.
Um,
One other dude, he's so cool, and I feel so bad not mentioning his name, but maybe we'll get it after this and throw it in.
Mhm.
But we heard Big Plans, and we were like, this song is so good, and like we wanted to put it out so bad. And I remember we got on a call with said guy, and we're like, hey, this song is a smash, and he fully shut it down.
Yeah, he was like,
Said it was
Fully
That's
shut
the
it
said it
down.
was
most
said it
boy
was
band
it was the
song.
worst song we'd ever release,
Yeah.
and we put it out. It got no support on his end, nothing, like, which basically means we put it out like you would if you were an independent artist, and we just dropped it
no
we dropped
and-
it. And look at it
organically straight off of just
now. Man,
it being a good song. It's our second biggest song behind 8 letters.
Yeah,
It's
it's,
just
a
like-
great
it's just
record.
like-
and
Yeah.
by
Wow.
the way, anybody with ears would have told you that song was a
And
hit.
then like thank you. And then from then I think the confidence built, and we just started honestly like growing up too.
Yeah.
You know, we started adulting, and we were like, it was just crazy. We were in a bubble, you know, and like the further down the rabbit hole we got, it felt like the bigger the bubble got. And we heard this from Sean, and then we had a talk with Lauv at one point, and he was like, this is how I release music, and this is how
Mhm.
I'm treated by management. And we were just like, oh, okay. Like it's just like one thing after another. There are these like breadcrumbs of like, wow, this is not normal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And in the
and-
meantime, we're playing like, you know, between 5,000 and 10,000 people a night
Literally.
around the
Yeah.
country.
Exactly.
So it's like this. It was just this weird contrast of like, things are happening, but like things are not
but
right.
things are not good behind the
and
scenes.
yeah,
It's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
but we were good with each other.
We
you
were-
know?
yeah,
we were-
yeah.
Through it,
Because
through
you
it
were
all.
We were
Oh.
actually the only thing good at that.
Yeah.
Well, that was it, and you were all each other had, right?
Yeah.
Because collectively, I'm assuming you chose to keep this as a secret from your parents for the most part.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
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 That-
Until
That
Yeah.
must
I
be
think-
hard
and
too.
I think
Yeah.
some of
Until
them
we
knew a
got
little
out of
more than others, but
Until we
you
got
know,
out
I
of the
think it
house, I
was
feel like then
until I called my mom to. It's funny too. At the time, we weren't even making enough to buy a plane ticket. I called my mom and asked her, "Could you buy me a plane ticket?"
All.
I said, "Could you buy me a plane ticket, so that I could go home?" When I asked to when I told the guys I need to leave for
Yeah.
my own, health.
When was that?
Oh man, it was like first year.
2017.
Yeah, this is like 2017.
And it's just
Yeah.
crazy because we were so in it that there was no way we could let anybody know about that, you know.
Mhm.
And so the next day it was
Yeah.
we're good, and it just it's crazy looking back because we were robots, man, for real.
Mhm.
Bro,
you
and
know,
the weird thing
it's
is,
just crazy being that
like-
person you've read about and being like, oh, whoa, we actually
I partly was convinced, wait, no, we do have it pretty nice here. Like we were in Beverly Hills at this amazing, beautiful house at the top of the hills, but then like it was also this kind of terrible
insanity.
nightmare of a
Insanity.
situation
How
too.
would you
And
describe
it was like
the living situation?
That okay, so
Our-
the house was like the best
Stunning.
best view.
I've
ever.
been there once.
But yeah, but it was
When you
Yeah.
wore matching
small.
tux.
Beautiful
Small.
property.
you were there.
Beautiful house.
Oh,
yeah.
boy.
Oh,
Oh, you
that's
met-
yeah.
It's
Crazy.
Matt said, yeah.
But we
Crazy
shared
part-
2 bedrooms, all of us.
Me,
Zach-
and, me
yeah.
and Daniel were the quote unquote cleanest out of the group.
Still,
Which-
to this day, we still
To this
are.
day,
Okay,
probably.
okay. The
Yeah.
the three of us, the reason we weren't the cleanest at the time was because we were crammed in this little bedroom.
One-
smaller
one
room than
person
me and
bedroom.
Daniel.
We were sharing a bed.
Us
Corbin
three.
was on an air mattress.
The
next
bedroom
to
was
us.
smaller than
And-
the size of the lobby.
And literally,
like, the
to give you
lobby.
context,
It was like-
we are in a
A mansion.
mansion.
There's
Yeah.
enough room for you probably to have all your own separate rooms.
Yeah,
Yes.
but we weren't allowed upstairs.
What were the
so-
other bedrooms being used for that you were not allowed to
Nothing.
have?
No,
Sheer
they were open.
emptiness.
Nothing.
Nothing at all.
But you were probably paying rent on the house, I'm assuming. You're
But the
No.
other bedrooms,
No,
we
they were
weren't paying
upstairs. So like
We didn't
couldn't
have
go
enough money
upstairs.
if we wanted to.
Couldn't go.
We
upstairs.
couldn't go.
No, we
upstairs.
couldn't go upstairs.
So yeah,
Yeah,
that
it
was
was
the
a
thing. We were
rule.
living there for free. Well, I guess
Well,
under.
you weren't because somebody. Why don't we was
It's-
making money and
yeah.
somebody was making the money for you
Yeah.
guys and
Yes,
probably paying for the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, nailed it.
Correct.
And
So you
yeah.
were really
very
paying for the
interesting.
house.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
See,
No,
that's
but yeah.
also messed
No,
up
but
because
yeah.
like we
For-
don't
for
like
a year-
entirely know.
no.
For a year, I slept
So-
with this man, literally in the
Yeah,
same
they
bed.
shared. They
Yeah,
shared
yeah,
a bed.
Just take that little sentence and clip that for sure.
Yeah, whatever.
Just clip that.
So let me bring some clarity here. So who is sharing a bed with one another? Raise your hand.
Me and this guy.
Zach and Jonah.
We're
and
closer
then
because of
I
it.
was on an air mattress right next to the bed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, and that air mattress was ass.
It
bro.
was horrible, man. It was horrible.
I remember every morning I'd wake up and go to his room and be like,
No, he would be on the ground by the morning.
no, literally, bro, it was so bad.
It would always deflate. I was like,
Yeah.
why?
And what's crazy too is like nobody knew about this outside of the people in the house.
So
you know what I mean?
internal,
Like,
very heavily internal.
dude, like
Yeah.
to the point where like, you know, like at the time we were in cahoots with like Logan Paul, and like
I remember.
I
that.
remember like to this day I don't know if Logan was like aware. Like
don't
I'd
think
be
he
curious
knew.
to hear what he. But like
we got to talk to him.
honestly,
Yeah.
like he would come in and like that was the one day like food would be out on the table and like
Mhm.
the doors were all
Yeah.
open and like you know like
because
so,
company
like-
was coming over.
yeah, and I remember like
Yes.
one day Jay Alvarez came over and
Oh,
like
and he was like,
he was like, dude, you guys have it so good, and we were like,
yeah.
literally like. and like, what could we say?
like,
Like,
the
it
thing
was
was-
pretty bizarre.
Throughout
And that's
the
what's
day-
crazy is you knew he was aware of how psychotic it was
Throughout
by
the
showing.
day, we wouldn't really eat much.
No.
But
We
It-
ate goldfish.
No, we couldn't go in the
said
fridge.
person,
I mean, it was
said
like,
person would kind of reward us at
With
the end of the
food.
day if we worked really hard with food,
Yeah.
which was absolutely just.
It was like
and
the
now
big
that I look
reward.
back at that, I mean, and at the time, it
Was this on a daily? Like,
don't-
would
yeah.
you go all
Every
day
day.
without eating?
yeah, every
We
yeah,
would.
yeah.
Well,
I mean,
no,
like
Not
we
like
would.
all day.
We'd
we
get
would-
a waffle and
Eggo
We
waffle.
had a choice of a waffle
and
and
then-
oatmeal in the morning.
and then syrup to share.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
We,
We
couldn't
weren't
put
allowed
on
to
our
pour-
own
I
syrup.
We
can't
weren't
make this
allowed
up.
to pour our
I
own
can't make
syrup.
this
We
up.
weren't allowed to
I
get our
can't
own
make
water.
this up. I had my Eggo waffle, and I went to put it in the toaster, and I got absolutely. I
Yelled
got
at.
I got chewed out.
Oh yeah, we had a whole.
because I didn't wait for him to put it in the toaster. I mean, like that's the level of detail
What?
this
The
was at.
first few
Like,
months, we weren't allowed to get our own waters out of the fridge.
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
It was bizarre.
Yeah, we had to ask
yeah.
him.
And keep in mind, a couple of us are like had just turned 18
You're
even.
Oh,
so, like,
children.
Zach
So-
was
I was 15.
young, but like
15.
old enough
Exactly.
to like
I just want
be
like
able to.
I just want like a
Yeah,
Pop-Tart.
no, yeah.
If I
I'm
want
just trying to eat a Pop Tart. You know what I'm saying?
So you couldn't just go grab a snack if you were hungry.
No.
No,
Yeah.
and we weren't like allowed to go get our own
Dude,
food.
Do you?
we actually would wait until it was nighttime and then Postmate snacks and then hide them in the
It got to a
in the
point
drawers
to where
and
we
stuff.
literally postmated like
And
food
then
up to the house.
we found out how to
out
sneak
and
and
out.
then
grab it.
ants started coming because we were keeping stuff in the drawers, and then we got
Oh.
absolutely
That was
screamed at.
one
It
of the
was
worst days.
Wait, can I explain a really funny story real quick?
Oh, I know the one.
Okay,
I know
so
what
me and
this is.
Daniel, so once we
We're very hungry.
ruled the cleanest out of the group. We got to move upstairs for like a month.
We got one of the other bedrooms.
That was crazy.
We like leveled up.
Congratulations.
Me, Joe, and
we
we
have
Zach
to-
are downstairs. Like, what the
We're
hell?
downstairs
man?
like, what did we do?
Like,
We
they
had to keep it immaculate,
sorry,
bro.
we're in the little cupboard.
Me and Daniel
they have a
just
room.
took it though. We're like,
Dude,
we're going.
no, the
fuck
best
upstairs.
is like we'd be upstairs and looking down. I'm like, it's so nice of.
Yeah, bro.
I mean, this is like real talk, and then we'll get back to your story. I feel like
Yeah.
I'm talking to a ragtag group of orphans trying to navigate the orphanage and
yeah.
Dude,
figure
also,
out how to survive.
also,
Yeah.
you know, like backing out of it third person, you're like, are like for a while too? This was my general thought was like, are we just like, were we actually privileged and we're like being babies
Yeah,
about it?
you
type
think
of
it's
thing?
normal.
Because it
That's-
was we're in Beverly Hills, we're living the literal dream. And like literally, this is like what we have all dreamed of doing. On one side is like
Dude.
we have fans, we have literally songs climbing the charts, and so we're like,
the
this is a dream
psychologically
come
crazy part of it is that things were actually going well.
really well on
we
one
were-
side.
Well,
but
it was this.
but
weird,
that's what's crazy is the day like it got to a point where it was so bad that like in the midst of living literally what I thought was my dream at the time and our dream, I literally was ready to leave because it was so bad on this side, you know? And so that's what painted the reality for me of like, okay, no, this is actually like twisted.
Yeah.
It's like, I literally thought I had everything I wanted on this end and like would give anything, but it was so bad on this side that I was like,
Yeah.
this is not
But do you-
music anymore.
Do you
Like,
rationalize sacrifice for what you're given at a certain point where it's like, okay, this is what it takes. This is what I
well,
need to do.
It's funny because that was like
Yeah.
sort of the main point from
Yeah.
the other
Yeah.
end. From yeah.
They're
Yeah.
trying
It's
to
like
tell you that this
You
is
have to
this,
sacrifice to get where you want to be.
Work hard, play
Which
hard.
some
And
of
we
that's
were
true.
just and yeah, for
Like you
sure.
should-
You always have to sacrifice.
Yeah, but not being a
Absolutely.
prisoner in your own
Yeah.
house.
But
No.
yeah, no, and
No.
that was
There's
always
a
like the
different way
weird
to go about
the
it.
weird
Yeah.
thing for us
Yeah.
too was like and felt so brainwashy was because like okay, like I understand sacrifice for sure. Like I moved out of my house at 17 to come to LA, left my friends, left my school, left my parents behind. Zach at 15, like that in and of itself is a big sacrifice to go out on a limb and chase your dream. And then on top of that, you sacrifice in all forms of life to get what you want. But like
friends.
it was
family.
like, how
Yeah.
much do we have to sacrifice? Like, what do you mean by this?
There's
like,
a line between sacrifice and abuse.
yeah,
Yeah.
like at
Yeah,
what
absolutely.
point is the sacrifice
Dude,
not
I lost,
this
just
guy, like,
sacrifice?
I lost like 40 pounds in like 2 months.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Jones.
How do
I
you
was
hide that?
actually-
How
Like
do you
I
hide
was like
that?
actually like my arms were like so
Well,
tiny
dude,
at one point. It was crazy.
He used to he I'm not even making this up. He used to call Jonah only by Muffin Top. That was literally
and Jack.
It was
Yeah,
verbal
no, and
abuse
me.
as well.
he called Jack Bad Brain.
Yeah,
Insane.
he called him bad.
Like
Yeah.
dude
What?
was just a bully, bro.
Yeah.
He was just
Honestly,
a bully.
this guy is not
Not a good guy. dude.
okay like mentally, like something is like wrong, and like on one side it's sad too, and like me growing up now on a sympathetic side I'm like it's sad because like you can tell that he just wasn't taught and like you know like taught well as a kid, you know, like
Mhm.
you can tell he grew up in a bad way. And so on one side it's sad because like genuinely people that you know are that dark and twisted, and the dude is very dark and twisted, like he seems so unaware of it, you know.
Mhm.
And he's very narcissistic on top of that, which doesn't help, you know. Like I don't think to this day he thinks he did anything wrong, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
terrifying.
But when you say you guys have mentioned a few times that you couldn't leave, you mean like you couldn't leave your
Like he would lock the house up at
We
like
didn't-
9,
yeah, we had no
9
we didn't know the
transportation,
code to the
10
alarm.
PM.
We didn't know
Also
the code
like
of the
the
alarm.
schedule he was giving us at the time of also being minors, which I don't even know if that's like okay. It
No.
was like wake up, have like a protein shake and go. And like
Mhm.
we would and it was like almost like if there was an hour off, he would fill it with just some bullshit to like have us do something, you know. And so it was literally wake up, work, eat dinner, go to bed, like
Wait,
every
Jack,
day.
do you want to tell your story?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I want to
I
go
wanna
back
hear
to
this
you
story.
guys. You
Oh,
get
wait,
moved to
yeah.
the top floor.
Oh yeah,
You're
yeah.
looking down at
some light.
They
to the
progressed.
conversation.
yeah. You made
Oh,
it.
system.
it's just funny story.
Moving on
So,
up.
Yeah.
Me and Daniel also like would hide snacks. So one time we got Gushers,
Oh.
and
So
as we're upstairs, you know, we were chilling. I had eaten some food for the day, and I needed to take a dump. So I go to the toilet. I do my business.
Yes, sir.
I go to flush the toilet, and it does not want to flush.
Oh, no.
I'm like,
Oh, no.
okay, thank God there's a plunger here. We're good. I plunged this thing for like 20 minutes. And I'm like,
I just know he's stressed.
I'm like, okay, this is really not good. And
He already knows he's about to get
I
his
like
head
try
chewed
flushing
out.
again, because you know how sometimes magically it just flushes
Yeah,
again?
of course.
Yeah.
So I try to flush it again, and now it's at the freaking top of the toilet, and I'm like, all right. I'm fucked. Like, I keep plunging it. No, not working. So I end up having to tell this guy, and I was like, hey, man, I'm sorry. Like, I don't know what's going on. It won't, like, unclog. Calls the plumber. He comes over, finds a gusher wrapper, and he's like, oh, this is probably what clogged it. Oh, man, we got.
Where'd you get gushers?
Yeah.
Hey, well, and at
Why'd
the
you
same
put it
time, he literally, like, was, like, telling me, like, why would you, like, take a poop that big? And I'm like,
I remember.
He was abusing you over your
I was
number
like,
two.
No, literally,
I don't
bro.
know. I'm like,
But it
So
was
wild.
it was to the point that like
No, it was
Daniel
like,
had to flush a gusher wrapper down the toilet
Oh,
so
so
it
you're-
wouldn't be seen in the
Yeah, so
trash.
Yeah.
Daniel's gusher.
That was
Yeah, I thought it was
Yeah.
genius. You know? I thought it was no
Yeah.
evidence, no trash can involved. Like, I
And
thought-
like to kind of like advance the timeline too, like you know the bulk of it was like 2017, 2018. And like he, you know,
that was like the
he
most
and-
heated amount of.
yeah, and he and the production company had control over us the whole time, and like they had come on tour with us, and like you know we're on the same bus as us, and the whole thing. So there was never really like this element of like space. Up until like what I think 2019 was
2019, I
the
would say.
first tour that we went on where like we had our bus. And,
remember that.
Well,
and yeah, and that was awesome. But then again, like I mean, there's just been little to no transparency, just like in
Oh my goodness. yeah.
in the whole thing. You
Well,
know,
and that's
like
what's so tough is like we had no clue how it typically is, you know, and when you don't know, you don't know. So we were just literally for the first 2 years we thought that like the way we were touring was normal and like oh my goodness, dude.
I
the
mean,
amount of-
he had just had so much power over us
I
at
also-
the beginning. I feel like for the first like year to year and a half, 2 years, we really didn't have a choice, kind of.
No.
Yeah.
And he
Also,
made us,
our
he
work
made us
schedule,
feel like
no
without
choice.
him, like we're nothing. So like he leaves and we're screwed. We go back home and go get
Do
a job.
nothing.
I
Yeah,
also
very much
remember
hold
our
the
work
career
schedule
over.
was so
Yeah.
insane that when we were on tour, we were waking up and literally we would wake up at 6 a.m. and not stop until we went to bed.
Yeah.
And in between that, it was like literally a 30-minute break for lunch was all we got. And it was interview, meet and greet at a radio station, another interview, go to sound check, straight to sound check. And
Lunch
you're
break-
behind on time because you're rushing.
The lunch break was even hectic. Like we had to like stand and eat our food. Bro.
Yeah, no, literally,
Like-
and then show, and then another meet and greet, and then go to bed and wake up and go to bed at like 1 on the bus. Wake up in the next city at 6 and go again.
Yeah.
And I remember they were like, we finally were like, yo, this schedule is not like we can't do it. Like we're falling apart. And I remember he calls us and was like, you guys don't know what most artists do to make it. You got like if you knew what Ed Sheeran was doing, then you would understand what you got to do to make it. And I go, he's on our label. Do you think we could get his schedule? We got his schedule.
It was pretty lax.
It was
We got
half.
a schedule.
Not even like exaggerating, probably half what we were doing. And not to disregard,
and
like,
he even does a lot for who he is.
no, and like
Like,
the label, like Foley is like this man works hard, and I agree, like he works hard. But just to give you a comparison of like the like literally inhumane schedule at the time, we were like
Yeah.
zombie / robots.
Like-
you know, like
and
it was crazy.
I've said that on numerous occasions. I have very rarely seen, or probably never seen, an artist do as much as you guys have done in very tiny amounts of time. And I mean, to the point where I would literally see you in one city on a Thursday, I'd see you in a different city on a Friday, and then I happen to be in the same city as you on a Saturday, and I see you in 3 different cities in
Yeah.
3 days. And in some cases, you were doing 2 radio meet and greets and visits in one day.
we would
yeah.
do, we would do
That was
5
most
day,
days.
we would
Yeah,
do
that
5-day stretches where it would be Monday to Friday. We were doing a show in a different city every day with the added promo from 6 to
Yeah, man.
to 1 a.m. you're going to bed. Like you're getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep 5 days in a row, and like,
Not,
dude, it just
not
was like,
sustainable.
no.
I really loved my days off, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Did you have days off?
We
Very
had like
occasionally it was
one a week. Or
It was a
something.
routing date, so like it was when
Yeah.
like literally it was the
Randomly.
luck that it was impossible to make it to the next city.
So it's a
Yeah.
it's really
So we
travel.
were like,
Yeah,
"Party on the bus."
like
Like,
legally, the bus
very,
driver
very
couldn't drive
rarely.
any further,
Yeah.
so they had no choice.
Yeah. Thank God for some laws, you know.
I'm going to be very forward with this. You know, I've never seen a group work as hard as you guys have and not have a hit. So my
Thank-
question to you is why?
Yeah.
Is this group and the person that we've been discussing here
Biggest
today
question.
the reason?
Genuinely, I have said to this day, I would have been really curious had we started with someone that truly watered our seed as artists,
Yeah.
Rather
And-
than, yeah.
rather
Took it
than
for
literally convinced
themselves.
us that we were talentless. You know,
Yeah.
and it makes me sad because I know that this is happening somewhere right now. Like they're just like to see how like it went for us. There's no way that that was the first and last time. And I've heard of this happening before. So, but like, there's no way this is the last time this happens. And so it's just like, just to any artist out there, if you're listening and you're going through anything similar, the amount of egos out here in this LA world, anybody that isn't an artist trying to tell you how to be an artist is at faulty because you're the reason that they're even working. Like genuinely.
Mhm.
The artist is the reason the music business is a thing, you know, like, and it's crazy how many people out here in LA specifically will try to convince artists that they're not creative and that they don't have a gift to literally get to a point where they can try to be you.
Well, and I just
It's
want to say
crazy.
that those are the people who have failed at doing what you do,
Yeah.
and they want to live their
Yes.
life through you.
Yeah.
That's
1000%.
literally
That's-
it.
No, literally.
And without
Yeah.
mentioning
You
who the
said
guy
it a little
is,
too
accurately.
I know that you every day were
Wow.
living out his lost dreams. And
Literally.
if you weren't going to do it exactly how he would do it, then it was abuse was the only other
Yeah.
option.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's
I mean,
crazy.
And then when we
Just
finally
think
started
about-
to get some, we started to
Literally.
get older and started to get some more like personal freedoms and whatever, because at that point there was really no choice but to let us kind of grow up. It's just been
We
like
were having more
this
success,
constant
too, at the
like
time.
reminder that like the production company is the all-seeing eye or whatever you want
Yeah.
to call it, and that like why don't we as people really has no power, and that's been like the ongoing thing since
Still.
2018
And
to now,
honestly-
and like
Yeah.
finally this stuff is all like coming out, because like honestly we've had enough of just being
Dude,
pressed
You-
down and like
yeah.
You said
It-
you were suffering in silence.
yeah
Oh my
yeah
goodness.
and like yeah
Yeah.
it's
And
it-
like honestly, like in a weird way, that break that COVID gave us was good for us because like it was the first time we sat down as a band and just like hashed it out. We didn't have a schedule in front of us, and like
so
first-
crazy though.
the first six
psychologically, bro.
first 6 months going from all that to sitting in your room, like I genuinely was not okay. Like
Yeah.
like I thought I was losing it. Like
Mhm.
just
I'd-
the amount of the
I
amount
had like
of
a
like
panic attack like every day. for,
Yeah,
like,
the
3 months
anxiousness
straight.
caught
We got a
up,
lot of
like,
anxiety.
Was it the
because of
stillness and
Yeah.
It was that, but you know, I've also had like my personal stuff, like you know, my ex, like, and I have a kid as well, so
Yeah.
it's like
your dad?
you know,
Just a lot
becoming
of
a dad
life,
at
you know?
19.
He's
you
a
get
dad.
Really
yeah
anxious.
lot.
He's a dad.
You have matured though an exceptional
man.
amount, really quickly in life.
Oh yeah, yeah. I had to. You know? I change diapers all the time now.
Do you feel like Why Don't We made you mature?
Yes.
Was it also the baby though?
It was also,
course.
I think, you know, with experiencing the stuff we've gone through, I think it's made me like be able to see things, you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
normal people really can't. I guess not normal people, but like, I don't know, like for instance, like if someone's trying to manipulate me, I can't be manipulated anymore. 'Cause,
You're
like,
aware.
I see everything.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like
Yeah,
we
I
fought
agree.
Bowser,
Obvious,
you know,
completely.
and we're
Yeah.
still fighting Bowser,
Yeah.
but like
Mhm.
but
you
then,
can't-
yeah. But
yeah.
even just having a kid that, yeah, I've just matured as a whole.
Well, that
like-
changes everything because
Yeah.
you do this for someone who's not just you and not just your
Exactly.
immediate bandmates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But also
right.
with the whole situation, like you were saying, like I feel like we've learned so much
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
just about people that are trying to manipulate you, people that are just super
Yeah.
shady.
Mhm.
I mean, we can tell right off the bat. And it's
I want to go back to what you asked about not having a hit and working really hard too.
Yeah.
Like I think it's interesting because we were in this whole world that we've been detailing, and you know, we had 8 letters, which did really well.
Great
You
song.
know, that
guys have
took
had
us around the
such
world. We've
great
had some
songs.
really, really great
That was
songs
actually
that.
the first music the label
Yeah.
stepped in on.
Yeah.
Shout out Atlantic, you're the best.
And then
ever.
Go.
and then COVID hit, and we were like, we had all these songs, some songs that we had written on tour, and we were like, we're gonna take a stand, right? And we're gonna put out a whole album just written and produced by us, which is sort of the opposite of what we had been doing.
The good times and
Complete
the
The
bad.
opposite.
good times and the bad ones.
Yeah.
Which was a really great experience, I think, as artists for us to like get that confidence of like, oh, we can do this. This
Do
is
you-
really cool.
Craft that body of work knowing that you're planning on breaking free from this.
No, this was
horrendous
all
system?
in silence in the back of our bus, writing most of this. Like,
Yeah.
oh, this is what we're doing for fun. I think
Literally,
it's
like-
good, maybe.
Yeah, and
Like-
it was like literally just because we genuinely loved doing it. And
Yeah.
that was something that was cool in that moment that like in a weird way I appreciate was like at least the full intention was like not at all like we're gonna make this the biggest hit ever. It was always just like if it sounded great, we were genuinely excited and we're like,
Mhm.
dude, we're making 6 songs back here. You know, like
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
yours.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that came out in the middle of the pandemic. We weren't really able to tour it or promote it in the ways that we wanted to.
no.
Just because of COVID. But and then I don't know, we just been keeping on moving. Obviously this lawsuit and everything has kind of mucked things up this year, and finally we've gotten to the point where we were able to actually put out a single
Love back.
Love Back 3 weeks ago
Mm-hmm.
ish.
Yeah.
And by the way,
Um,
you're writing on it, Daniel, and you have an assistant producing credit on
Yes,
that song.
sir.
Correct.
Yeah.
Mazel tov.
Thank you,
But
thank
so
you.
then
Mazel
what
tov.
happened in between there was like, okay, we've done the thing where we're almost like just being told what to do. And then we've also done the thing where we've done everything ourselves. And
Yeah.
it's like, it's
the
almost
two
like,
extremes.
it's like, let's take the confidence that we got from the good times and the bad ones and then bring it to the table and work with Jay Hart and Johnny Price and the Kinetics and like all these people that like we really respect from when we have been working with writers and producers
And
and,
they're
the
your
connections we've
picks.
made. But it's all of a sudden like we have this newfound confidence, and
Oh
I
my
think
gosh.
it's
And it was
like
pretty full circle because
Yeah.
Jay Hart actually wrote on 8 Letters
That's right.
way back in the
Mhm.
day.
yeah,
And so it was full circle moment, like reconnecting with him and it, you know, to kind of expand off what you were saying too, Jonah, like the good times and the bad ones was like I feel like a very transitional album for us,
Mhm.
just as artists, because like we said, it was the first moment we went out on a limb and wanted to gain the confidence within ourselves to be able to write music and put out music that was completely our own and feel some ownership of Why Don't We?
Yeah.
You know, it was the first time we felt like, okay, why don't we is why don't we?
Mhm.
But like I don't think that album was like, oh, we have found our identity. Like
No.
it,
No,
it
no,
was it was
Well, technically, you're just starting to search for it with that
Yeah.
album.
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah,
fair
that
to
was
say?
like-
I
and
kind
that
of
was the
our
most
first-
rewarding
Dude,
thing.
what it
album,
did for
like-
me was like performance aside, like of how well it did and all that, and like cockiness aside, like just genuinely, that album to me like showed us like we are God chosen and gifted artists. Like this is what we're here for, you know. And like it's crazy. Like again, cockiness aside, like most artists don't know how to produce or write,
Huh?
and they can sing and that's what they do. And like you know, nothing against them, but like the amount of validation that album has brought for us as a band of like, you know, people that we look up to reaching out and being like, yo, I see what you guys are doing. That's very impressive. It's like we have like dreamed of that sort of validation for years. And at one point, if you told me 4 years ago that like some of these dudes that are hitting our lines or calling are like saying like, good job, like I'm really impressed or like that sounds great, I'd be in tears, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I was when they called, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
And then
it's just
to
crazy.
be able to take that and move forward and get in the room with people that you know are fantastic and can help you find what you're searching for in a
Totally.
great, beautiful, positive musical way
But you
has,
need that
has been
confidence.
super.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's
Right.
like
To
it's such
share
a
what you
mix now
want.
too. Like,
Yeah.
it's like I feel like the way that we write too typically I've learned is like we very much can sit down and like force a session, but like the true special songs that we make are very like one day Corbin came or we finished like a day of promo and the what was it called? The
Bedroom Paradise. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
That's
a great song.
super sick song
Banger.
and like literally like Corbin stayed back to like help me with some guitar loops and then like sang a melody over it and it just like happened.
Yeah.
That's a lot of like the songs that we find special that we make lately are like the ones that just sort of happen and aren't forced. And then on the other side, when you work with some of these writers and producers out here, it's like every day they're doing this, and so they have some like crazy, just like almost like go-to like melodies or beats that are like insane, and you're like, I would never think to go there. And so it's like this mix of, you know, when it comes to you, it comes to you, and then like when you're losing inspiration and you go in a room with one of the craziest producers, you're like, oh, I'm inspired now. Like, so
Yeah.
Confidence
fun.
and collaboration go hand in hand, and you
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
can't make quality music without that. And
No.
also, like the chances of you just being 4 songs and those becoming hits, I
Yeah.
mean, it happens. But
Yeah.
does it
Totally.
happen from an authentic space? Is that
Right.
a
I
think-
timeless thing?
Yeah.
I think
The-
the best
the-
thing we can do right now is like be just like us, very honest.
Yeah, and
like
just like keep making music and putting
We're
out
t-
music and like believing in our music and like, you know, it's our manager now always says this very, I feel like spot on quote where he's like, you know, if
our good manager.
yeah yeah
The good one.
I don't know what it is word for word, but it's something along the lines of like, you know, if everybody knew what it takes to make a hit, then every song everybody put out would be a hit. And like that's been the interesting thing to see over the last 5 years of being a band is just like, you know, sometimes music you super heavily believe in and feel like is the one will just not do what you expect. And like sometimes the songs that you're kind of like iffy about will
do really
catch
well.
fire somewhere and will take a life of their own in a way that you didn't expect. And like, I don't know, that's been a very interesting thing to witness from an artist standpoint and like try to figure out.
And the other thing too is I think it's about like what well is fueling those songs, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Right.
well,
Yeah.
is the
It's
well
funny, it's
yours,
like,
or
well,
is it a manager who's living
well,
out his
and
failed dreams?
Genuinely,
Yeah.
it is us now, and that's like one of the biggest differences too. Is, you know, like in the past, I feel like that was a big intention with this guy, and for us being in it the way we were, it was like a song would get passed to us, and we'd be like, "Does it sound like a hit?" Like that was all we thought and cared about at the time.
Not
and like
does it represent me?
No,
is
and
it a
it's
story that I
crazy, dude,
relate
like-
to?
Yeah.
it's crazy, not even trying to promote the new music, but like some of the music we've been making lately, like the whole mentality is shifted where it's like I'm actually also when you're on tour, you don't live like a normal real life, so it's very hard to
not
write
at
real
all.
music. Shout out Ed Sheeran. I don't know how he was doing it the way he was, but like COVID was in a sense good for us in that way too, where like we got to live life and be like normal to an extent, you know, and the amount of inspiration and lyrics and music that came out of it. It's funny because those are like those songs, the ones that like we just make for like therapeutic reasons or just like for the sake of honesty and lyrics. R&R lately has been like
Those are
these
the
ones,
ones.
which is like
Mhm.
the best feeling too, to like have people now on our team at the label. Again, shout out Atlantic. They're honestly amazing. And like our A&R Jeff and Craig, they've been so cool where like they're very honest with us, and there's no like political intent or like malicious intent. They just listen and
No.
like either are like no, or they're like, I love this.
But-
And like it's such a gift to like have those dudes. You
And
know?
they also could be interacting with you in a new way. Because I'm going to be honest with you. I know the person you've been mentioning. There's a lot of people who have been abused by him who are not artists, but executives and
Yeah.
songwriters and
yeah.
it made doing business with Why Don't We treacherous.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Treacherous. To
Yeah.
the point where it was plague-like and you wanted to avoid it.
Oh
yeah,
my goodness.
yeah.
Literally.
The
And
amount
like
of-
what's sucked now like is to extend off of that even is like we've been making all this music and like working with amazing people, and like I just feel like, and this I don't mean to make any excuses at all, but I just feel like we've been hindered by the production company in the sense that like we haven't been able to use the voice that we've been creating, you know, behind the scenes as much as we have wanted to for the past 2 years. And
Yeah.
like
And by the way,
that's the
And
biggest
also,
struggle
this
of all
is
this
a
like,
relationship-driven business, and if people get a bad vibe, they get a bad vibe from somebody,
Yeah,
and
they-
yeah,
that
that's a real thing.
it
Yeah.
really
Very
like
real thing.
if I meet somebody at somewhere and they're like, whoa, I'm like, I don't need to work with this person. I don't, you know what I mean? Like,
and here's the deal. The people who work with you are essentially extensions of you through and
Sure.
through.
totally.
And then to your point of like you were drowning in this energy that really held you back personally,
yeah.
affected you professionally, both in the songs that you were putting out, the way you performed, and the relationships you were forming in the industry. And then on top of that, like the abuse that you had to endure day to day. Like when I read your statement, just gonna be honest, like I cried. I felt really bad. I know you all at this point. I've known you many years.
Yeah.
I knew that you were being overworked. I knew it. I didn't know to what extent. And to really try to wrap my mind around this concept that a group of artists creating music that I've enjoyed so much and given so much time to, I've enjoyed your shows. I've seen, I mean, probably a dozen times you guys perform live. I felt terrible. The idea that somebody would hold you back from eating food, from communicating with family, from leaving your house, to anything. Hard to wrap my mind around.
What made you finally want to speak out and release that statement?
It's just been so long.
Honestly, the reason we put out the good times and the bad ones, and prior to that, we had taken like a big break off of social media, and we were doing a lot of just internalizing and living in LA, and we put out that album, and Love Back was finished in April, like very, very shortly after.
And we were like, this is the summer song.
Or it was finished. It was finished in April of this year. Actually, my timeline's a little off. But throughout that whole album cycle and not being able to tour and whatever, it was very tough to move forward. And then, come 2021, we're trying to get the ball rolling. Like it's been another, big break since. Since the Good Times and the Bad, and that song was intended for the summer, for very, very early summer, and then issues within the company just started to take a toll on the professional side of things and on the Why Don't We business and on our careers. Like this is, we're the face of Why Don't We? We're the voice of Why Don't We? We are Why Don't We?
Yeah.
And we have a certain responsibility and obligation to our fans, who are our entire lives, to make music and to do what we love.
Get it out.
And when that started being hindered heavily, we were just like, okay, like
we gotta say
this
something.
is, and then like I don't know if I can say this or not, but like the production company had sued us first over literally nothing. I don't know what details I can really say, but a lawsuit without any merit, without any teeth. And at that point we were like, okay, like this is what it's really come to, like over nothing. And so it was like, okay, enough of this.
Also
like,
at that point,
final straw here.
Our manager that's with us now, he's a great guy. His name is Randy.
He's right there. He's a legend.
Shout out, Randy.
In the midst of that, he was also caught up in that, and he was on our side. And it was at that point that we really brought Randy to speed, because he wasn't even fully aware of what these guys were doing. This guy was doing that whole time. So once he was really brought up to speed, he hopped on it and fully backed us.
Do you have any?
And now we're fighting the fight still. It's these things don't take a week. They take a lot longer. We've come to find out.
Yesterday.
But like if there's any hope or prayer, it's that like we can keep coming out with music.
That's all we want to do, man. That's all we want to do.
It's like, it's funny because I see this gleam of like hope where like right now it feels like we've really fully let our guard down with the brainwash of trying to be anything but who we really are. Like literally yesterday we had a conversation of like, enough is enough. Who are we really? And like, let's be that. Like, no joke.
What answer do you come up with? Who is Why Don't We today?
Why Don't We is Jonah, Daniel, Corman, Jack, and Zach. And it's literally like, we are just people that have like been through a lot like most, and we want to be there for those people. And also just like, I think the biggest thing we're trying to do right now as a band is like fight every day to like make this enjoyable again. And the music is so enjoyable now, and like we just did our first like show back. We did a show at the El Rey, just a small theater in LA, and it was like a secret pop-up show, and the most enjoyable night of the last 2 years was that show.
So much fun.
and every day we were talking yesterday, and we're like, let's like go bowling and like do like literally do mindless things, like go to the beach and like literally like
be people, be
Just
human
Yeah.
people,
beings.
like
Yeah.
Friends.
Yeah.
to this
Gushers.
day we're still battling with the idea that like it's okay to like not only just work all day together and slave away, you know, like we
Yeah.
can just
That's
like,
how we were.
Yeah,
you know,
conditioned, and that's
Yeah.
like that's what I mean. So much affected me when reading the statement, but really, it's about the lasting impact that these actions and this treatment will have on you.
Yeah.
And I want to get into like what you think those are.
Mm-hmm.
But Daniel, you brought up something really specific, which is like you're trying to make sure that this doesn't happen again.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's not the first time that something like this has happened.
no,
I mean, look throughout history. Lou Pearlman is very
Oh yeah.
a
Yeah.
famous piece of shit.
they could be
It's
criminals,
almost
bro.
like the
Yeah.
classic boy band story, you know,
something
and
about
like
boy band
it's
managers, bro.
and it's one of those things
Yeah,
that
what's
like
that about?
you never think something like that'll happen to you,
Yeah.
and then it does, and you're like, wow,
and
like,
when you're in it,
life
like,
is real.
you like they're so good at brainwashing you
Mhm.
that like you don't
Mhm.
even like
Yeah.
And
like,
like,
well,
I'm not
because
in
your
it.
options are limited. You
Right.
don't have
Yeah.
many other
Yeah.
things,
No,
and you've
yeah.
already given so
And
much
you're,
to this.
like,
and that's
quite
the whole
literally
goal of
15,
the
dude.
abuser is put you in a corner where it's
Yeah.
like
You have no other option.
yeah
and yeah it's
And
great.
dude,
I
like-
also I also don't want it to sound like we're like coming on here just to like have like a sob story
should
and all
talk
this
about
stuff
this.
and like
Yeah.
but it's more like we want this stuff to be known so that if my 15, 16-year-old self watched this right
Yeah.
now, I would know a little more about the music
Yeah.
industry and this
Right.
actually happens. Like
And
Oh,
like-
the
and like,
power
you know,
plays out here, man, and
it's
like
crazy.
genuinely can't say it enough. Like if you are an artist and you have 10 fans listening to you right now, you have more than the person telling you he knows more. You know, you
Yeah.
have 10
Yes.
fans and he
You have
doesn't.
10 fans.
That's
Yeah.
what you gotta like keep in mind.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Genuinely, like you have the power, and like the best thing you can do is like keep digging deep into who you are as an artist, and like
Mhm.
find people around you that support that and like cheer you on.
Mhm.
Turning the page to your truth.
Yep.
Was
Yeah.
this scary to do?
yeah
Yeah,
yeah
I was
man.
shaking when we walked into this interview.
Yeah.
Very, it was
It's weird.
yeah
We've
yeah.
never talked about it.
And that's the first time you probably ever. I mean, usually people aren't nervous to come in here.
yeah
No, not at all, dude. And
even like the original statement that we had put out on social media regarding the whole thing was very like, I don't know, it was weird. It was like getting this weight lifted off of our shoulders and like seeing the press and the media pick up the story itself and the emotional side of it was like, it was uplifting and like I said, lifted a weight off of our shoulders, but like at the same time, just like I personally felt just so vulnerable and so
Yeah.
like, should people know about this? Like, am I telling the world too
Wasn't
much?
Yeah.
Like, you know, are there legal repercussions for this? Like,
I don't know.
just my
Yeah.
mind
It's
is
a
going
real thing.
everywhere because of just like feeling so unprotected by the company, and then like speaking out a truth that goes against, you know, maybe the personal goals or personal motives of that side of it. Just felt like,
Mm.
oh my gosh, like I was even questioning, like, am I a bad person for saying all of this stuff
Yeah.
Well, and just,
on the
what
open?
was
Like,
me thing, like I was like very much questioning, like I want to even just say like my manlyhood, maybe, where I was like, is this like some vulnerable thing I should just tuck in type of thing?
Mm.
Yeah,
you know?
like-
like
Yeah.
I was like, do we need to disclose this? Like, I don't know. Was
Yeah.
it really that bad? And then like, it was crazy. I was in tears the whole day because like when it did come out, the amount of like people that hopped on it and like
yeah,
reached
Free,
out,
why don't we?
reached
Dude.
out
was
to like
amazing.
just like seeing like the literal validation online of people like being like, this is inhumane.
Yeah, like that's
Yeah.
not okay.
I was like, okay, yeah, no, this wasn't okay,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And up until the world really like gave their opinion on it, I still was like questioning, like, was it really that bad, you know?
But that's
or
like that's
was
the
it really-
manipulation
yeah.
kicking in still.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's,
was
that's-
it
it's
was it
still
more
in his
normal?
head.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're trying to justify it because you were
Yeah.
taught and conditioned to justify it.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's God.
that was bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just ask a question to end more on a positive note?
yeah.
What's next? Where do you guys, where do you guys go
Yeah.
from
Let's
here?
go.
Love
Yeah,
this.
man.
Uh,
We've been making so much music, man.
Yeah.
The vault is like a vault of gold right
Yeah.
now,
Mhm.
and we just want to keep putting music out, man. Love Back was like the first step in our next era, and like I know we said this with the Good Times and the Bad Ones being like our most authentic and most genuine era, and in a lot of ways,
It
I think it was
It's just
that
how
at the
artists
time,
work.
especially.
You
You
just-
know, it was fully from us. It was our music. It was our writing, our production. But like the difference between then and now, I think, is like just being able to like explore our sound and really find it, and like find people that want to find it with us. And like I think there's something to be said about having a third opinion. You know, like you can debate with someone on about something forever and have two
Collaboration
sides of
is
the
a powerful
argument. But
thing.
yeah, collaboration, like having
Yeah.
people that can come in from the outside and be like, this is how I feel, and like, do you guys agree with this? Just
Daniel.
musically has been really
Picking at the mic.
amazing. And you know, on our end, we're really trying to pick up the pace and put our foot on the gas, and like in our minds, our foot's all the way down.
Yep.
No
And so
break.
we're doing whatever we can to like make sure that that is what happens for us, and we just want to put out as much music as possible,
And,
man.
like,
As much
dude,
music
like,
as possible.
Just like literally, like you're gonna see like the veil coming off with us, genuinely. You know, and like hate it or love it, we're gonna just do
yourself.
that, literally.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
for
Yeah.
our sake.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
And for our fans' sake. Like they knew. That's what's crazy too, is like our fans, the amount of tweets I would see were like during shows, fans would be, they literally put out a hashtag like pray for why don't we or something, because we weren't
yeah.
okay.
Oh,
at
Or
the end
on
of
tour.
tour.
WDW take a break or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they asked
It
us
was
to
like,
stop
yeah.
touring and take a
Yeah.
break because they could see like right through it, you
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
so even for their sake, like we just want to be authentic
Yeah.
and like you know, and this will be the first time genuinely though that I think like they'll just see us for us.
Yeah,
you know?
tons of music. We're planning a tour.
Let's
I mean,
go,
it's like,
baby.
yeah, we got a lot of stuff on the
Let's
horizon, and it
go.
feels really like positive and like, oh my
And
gosh,
just
this
fighting
is
the good fight, man.
Yeah.
Fighting the good
Fighting
fight
the good
and
fight.
like
And you use the right term, like you're finding your sound before
Yeah.
it was given to you. You know,
Yeah.
and by the way, doing the good times and the bad ones, it's needed. It's a part of the process.
Yeah.
and
Heck
journey.
yeah.
and shout out to everybody that's been on the journey with us. Shout out to you guys for
Oh, forever.
Yeah.
for always keeping up, and shout out to our fans
Shout
because
out to
our
all the
fans
moms.
have been our lifeline through this whole thing, and continue to be.
Yep.
And I'm just excited for everybody to hear the stuff, man. It's
We
really
got
cool. It's new for us. There's a
next
little bit of experimentation in there, but like
Oh, just wait for the
It's
next
funny,
one.
like,
It's
the
really
stuff
good.
we've been putting
This
together
next one's
is like
crazy.
it's stuff that we're like fully in love with for the first time.
Oh,
Yeah.
And that's been a very reviving feeling for us personally and as
It's like
artists.
we would actually bump it in our cars type of
Yeah.
thing. You know, like that's the difference.
I'm
Is like
bumping it every.
I don't think
every
I've
day.
ever shown a homie one of our songs. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
we'll put it out and like they'll be like, "What you been up to?" I'll be like, "Oh,
you know,
play some Ed Sheeran, bro."
But I've like
You can
never
go look it up
genuinely.
if you want to.
Man, I knew it
I've
was
never
not that we
bro,
haven't-
Don't worry
genuinely
about it.
been,
not that we
like-
haven't loved the stuff that we've put out.
yeah, it's like exactly.
but it's
Yeah.
it's interesting comparing that stuff from before to now, and just like I think it's just a result of evolution, man.
Yeah.
Evolution as artists and as a band. It's like
Well,
I feel
it's
like a lot
like-
of artists would feel that way. You know,
Yeah.
as you mature and you grow and you find your sound. You're just always moving forward, and like you would just hope within yourself that everything you put out just gets better and better and better and better.
Even if we weren't being told to put out the music, I feel like we would still hate our old music just because it's old now. you know?
That's
But
a
like,
big thing.
yeah, but like the new music is just like so good and so fun and very like set up for a live show.
Yeah.
The live show is gonna be so bananas, and I just want to say also the only show we've done, the El Rey, the crowd was like unreal.
The
I don't
best.
even know
Yeah.
how to describe, and
Yeah.
so just to the fans, you all so far have been literally amazing, and can't wait to tour, and hopefully tour.
Yeah.
And
Just get back to what Why Don't
fingers
We does
crossed.
best.
Yes.
Just be
man.
praying for us too that
Yeah.
like we can come out with music and tour because that's all we want to do.
Yeah, just
And-
keep the support. We love it so much.
Mhm.
Like honestly, it helps a lot. Just like seeing all the tweets and
Mhm.
comments and stuff. People are so caring, and
yeah.
even just like talking to you guys and hearing your tones of voices, and it's like, wow, like you guys really care. So thank you.
yeah.
It is unwavering. And I
Yeah.
tell you, you probably already have, but listen to their music. Link in the description below. Love
Hey.
back. Having a crack in your halo. Is that realizing that somebody is not as perfect as you thought they were?
It was more us. It's like us growing up in the music industry. You know that
Yeah.
totally symbolized.
Coming into it pure and kind of losing your innocence and losing maybe
Yeah. just like
You
a
know,
little
cracking the
tarnished,
halo.
you know.
Yeah.
Who comes up with that idea in the room?
Actually, he's right here.
His
And
boy.
come say hi. Come give him a wave.
Really?
Come on, he's so sexy.
on.
Get in the
Creative director.
camera.
He's a little shy.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, there he is.
We love Anthony.
Yeah, he's the best.
That's our
He's,
creative director.
Yeah, he's a good friend of ours, and he just got into it. Really with Loveback. That was his first.
Yeah, Love Back. Love Back campaign was crazy. Not to like keep talking if you guys shouldn't end this thing. But,
Yeah, they're like ending it.
we flipped that campaign in 24 hours. Like
Yeah.
it was
Oh, yeah.
a whole different thing, and it was very
Just
like
didn't feel right.
didn't feel right at all.
We were in
and like
sunflowers
you know,
in a
but you're-
field, and
yeah.
it just looked weird.
you're working with
Yeah.
you're working with label budgets. You're also working with production company budgets and ideas and stuff like that. And like, you know, we've loved this song so much that like we always had this itch in our stomach that like the visual has to be right and it has to elevate. And like literally over one weekend, we funded the whole campaign ourselves, and
Oh shit.
we flipped it. And like the label was kind of upset at us because they were like, "Come on, like
yeah, we
we
spent all
need
this
the
money.
assets."
Which is like
we-
fair. It's
you
fair.
know,
That's fair.
But
I mean,
But when you
shout
got
out to
a
them
light
because they
bulb-
took it in and they really loved
Yeah.
the direction we were going
Yeah,
with
yeah.
it. And you
Anthony
know, I-
crushed it.
they didn't have to do that, and so I'm very thankful
Literally,
that
we-
they did that. And
we had our girlfriends doing our makeup. That
yeah,
day.
I know, it was
and
crazy.
like it was honestly like the most fun like photo shoot we've done, because like,
Yeah.
you know, we've done a lot of those like big production things where it's like all these moving parts, and at some point you almost feel like just like this is just like too much, you know. And like if you want a very specific shot, it's very tough to get it
Mm.
when there's like 100 different cameras, you know. And like it was so fun to just like kind of do it on the run like that.
But that's
Yeah.
a part of having control and having freedom and
Yeah,
letting your
exactly.
direction and your opinion lead the way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Ant is so gifted and just like so good at what he does that like with him on top of it, it's been awesome.
Mhm.
great.
He's a legend.
Are we thinking about releasing music 2022 or before that?
Before.
Oh,
music
definitely-
before
definitely before
2022.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
If we can get it out.
That's the plan.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
we're working on it. We're
Yeah.
working on it as we speak.
Let's go.
Uh,
Fight. We're still fighting.
yeah, stay tuned.
Yep.
Stay
Link to
tuned.
listen to Why Don't We is in the description below. Five of, in my opinion, some of the most incredibly talented human beings that I've ever met.
Wow.
And-
Thank you.
Bro.
And I've known from the first time that I met y'all that you are five distinct colors that are very different from one another.
Huh.
And when they come together, they make Why Don't We? And I feel like now, for the
Dude.
first time ever, those colors have the ability to actually exist and
Bro.
not live under this matte, gross haze
Uh-huh.
and actually
Dang.
be the vibrant colors that they've obviously
We
been
turned
for a long time.
saturation all the way
Next
up.
time someone asks who is Why Don't We, can we just like FaceTime you or something?
Yeah, just say that.
Bro,
Hey.
That
thank
was
you.
awesome.
Thank you.
Dude,
That
thanks,
was
bro.
wow.
For real,
Well,
yeah.
I genuinely appreciate
nice.
y'all, and I,
Beautiful.
you know, it's not every day you get to see artists literally start from like really nothing, and you get to follow them and
Yeah.
get to know them as individuals and people. And you should be all really proud what you've done, and all, even this conversation takes strength, and to live your truth and to speak your experience, not only in long term will help the five of you, but will go on to help a lot of people in return.
Yeah,
So-
I hope so.
Totally.
Thank you, man.
Amazing. I
Thank
love
you.
Well,
Thanks
also,
for
last
letting
question.
us rant.
Can I please borrow your sweater after
Yeah,
this?
whenever you
Yeah.
want.
Dude, it's so cool.
I have a great cardigan collection that
Bro,
you should
it's
borrow.
so
Hey,
good.
He's on the cardigan wave.
That's
heavy.
what I'm saying. I'm
Yeah.
jealous.
I'll
It's
send you
way
pictures.
cooler than mine.
I'll send you pictures.
Oh, let's go.
I got a lot of good ones.
All our text is just cardigan pictures. So good.
I really appreciate you guys very,
Yeah,
very
me
much.
too,
So
man.
tking you so much for being here.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you.
for
Thanks
having
for
us. Thanks
having
for
us,
letting us
guys.
We always
rant,
love
man.
coming.
Dude,
Why
much
don't
love,
we,
bro.
everybody?
Nuts.
Hey, beautiful human. Thanks for watching our full interview, but I get it. Like, a full interview is a lot. So we got a clips channel. We don't expect you to watch the full thing anymore, so we just gave you the highlights. Please subscribe and notifications and all that stuff. Okay, cool. I love you.